What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. I'm Drew Bosley, that's Scott Savage, and you can join us at InsideTheGame.ca, our YouTube channel, Inside the Game Official. Make sure you sub while you're there. Of course, we're on the fast channel over at Rad TV streaming platforms around the globe, just like Jinx Esports TV, Amazon Prime, Roku, ESTV, and a whole lot more. But we also got you covered on the audio side. Hit us up on Fired Up Network. We're across 212 platforms. Scott, what's on the show today?
Today we're going to talk about The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered and how that has caused quite a buzz. Xbox is set to overtake Sony PlayStation, revenue-wise, and Wonder Woman live service. Is it going to be?
Time will tell. Let's dive into it. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is official. Scott, it never fails. We talked about the rumors and speculations of what was going on with Naughty Dog. The fact that The Last of Us Part 2 is getting a remaster. No sooner last week did we finish our show, post it, put it live, did Naughty Dog then quickly follow up and go, hey, yep, here it is, and a trailer. I was like, no, what are you doing? We just talked about this. Could have done it 5 minutes sooner, but this is how it goes. Jonathan Dornbush over at the PlayStation blog had this to say. The team here at Naughty Dog is excited to announce The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, the definitive way to experience the acclaimed The Last of Us sequel, originally released in 2020. 3 years ago at this point, Scott. We're thrilled to confirm you won't have to wait long for it either. Players can jump into Ellie and Abby's emotional journey on the PlayStation 5 console on January 19th. So this will be a 4-year span, Scott. 4 years, remastered, not too bad, but there's more that comes with this, and I think this is the exciting part that we're going to get into here. Whether you've already played and platinumed The Last of Us Part 2 on the PlayStation 4 console, or have recently jumped into The Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation 5 and want to continue the story, Part 2 Remastered will offer plenty of reasons for new and returning players to revisit a story that means so much to our studio. The engrossing campaign returns alongside technological improvements, new modes. That's what has me excited right there. New modes, really, and new behind-the-scenes features that will deepen your understanding of Part 2's creation. But before we break down what's in store, take a look at the announcement trailer, which we will have obviously playing right beside us. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is designed to let you dig deeper into both its development and mechanics. Chief among these are the brand new mode called No Return, a roguelike survival mode designed to let players prove their mettle in randomized encounters and experience The Last of Us Part 2's combat in a fresh experience. The mode includes a host of playable characters to choose from, some playable for the first time in the Last of Us franchise, which you might have spotted in the trailer. Yeah, I know, dude, I'm pumped. Who each could come with their own traits to suit different playstyles. Players will chart their own course on each run, choosing between various stealth and combat encounters that will pit you against a range of enemies with unique twists that can add new, unexpected factors to any given encounter. Each run will offer a new chance to decide what rewards you get after each encounter, how you spec out your character, and more. Unlock more characters, skins, and more as you progress to use in the mode, customize your own runs, and compete on a global leaderboard as part of the daily run 2. We're excited to share more about No Return as we get closer to launch. For those who have already played The Last of Us Part 2, we know the included sections featuring a playable guitar were a favorite for many, and your begrudging rock stars impressed us with your performances. So we've introduced a new guitar free play mode, which will let you strum the strings across a host of unlockable instruments. Use audio effects pedals to modulate your performance and play as different characters in several in-game locations to customize the mood and feel of your set. And for both new and returning players interested in learning more, we designed Part 2 Remastered to offer a comprehensive dive behind the scenes of how our studio brought the game to life. A new set of lost levels in Part 2 Remastered will allow players a unique chance to check out some playable sequences previously cut from the game. These aren't fully level or finished levels, but rather early development slices that not only let you see some of the new glimpses of Part 2's world, but also include embedded development or developer commentary to give them richer context. Explore these spaces and hear directly from the team about the intention of aspects of each level. This is a unique inclusion for our studio, and we're excited to allow players a glimpse into the creative process. We've also included newly recorded director's commentary above the campaign's cutscenes from Neil Druckmann, narrative lead Haley Gross, and actors Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, and Laura Bailey. They assembled to offer insight into the story and its characters that means so much to both our team and our fans, and we're delighted to give fans even more understanding of the team's approach to the story. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered will feature enhanced graphics, including native 4K, output 1 in fidelity mode, 1440p upscaled to 4K 1 in performance mode, an unlocked frame rate option for TVs that support VRR, increased texture resolution, increased a level of detail distances, improved shadow quality, and the list goes on and on and on. So, dude, Scott, and it keeps going, man. Here we go. Audio and speech to vibrations, which uses the DualSense controller to indicate characters' speech and cadence. The unlockable speedrun mode, included in The Last of Us Part 1, will also be coming to Part 2's Remastered, allowing players to post their best times. Do not look for me to do that, Scott. I suck at speedruns.
No, you don't like speedrunning stuff.
Dude, I'm a stealth player. You know what that means? Slow and steady. There is no just beeline in it. I can't do that crap. That's for sure. I'll leave that to somebody else. It's incredible what some players pull off, but this is exciting. We're so excited to natively bring The Last of Us Part 2 to PS5 as the definitive way to experience this sequel and everything it has to offer, while also offering fans new and returning deeper levels of appreciation of the work that went into it. So pre-orders are going up. They'll be all over the place. And here's the other highlight. I think this is something that needs to be mentioned. And good news for exciting owners of The Last of Us Part 2 on PlayStation 4. You'll be able to upgrade to a digital version of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered for $10 USD at launch. Scott, this isn't hey, we're bringing you the Remastered, suck it if you already own it. $70, $80, right? It is, oh no, you already own it? Okay, cool. Here's a slight upgrade, right? And I am down for this. I'm so down for this, Scott. I can't wait.
Now, there was quite a bit of misunderstanding, I think, when this leaked.
Oh, man.
Because it wasn't a proper announcement, and it appeared to be just a little bit of a graphical tweak, visual upgrade.
Yeah. And
that was being monetized. However, this appears to be much better of a package. It's more of a director's cut version of the game. And in that regards, certainly warrants a $10 upgrade. I think that's quite reasonable.
Dude, this is when we get into, do we want remasters, right? And I saw a lot of flack over the weekend about this coming up. And I got into a great discussion over on our Discord where people can join us over there. It was Northern Nerdcast and Finney McGee and I talking about, is this a good thing? Is this a smart move? Is this the right move? And you think about it as the way we've watched The Last of Us progress. We get the remastered coming over to PS5. People were mad about that, but how many people bought it, right? You can all complain, but stop complaining when you buy the game, right? That's the downside. Stop buying it then,
Yeah, one or the other. Don't do both.
That's the other side. I'm like, yo, what are you complaining about? You just bought the game, and what did you do? You loved it. Right, that's the thing. So here it goes. We get The Last of Us on PS3. It gets remade to an HD version of PS4. Now it gets remade to a PS5 version. We get the Part 1. We're in it. We're loving it. That ends. We play The Last of Us Part 2 on PS4. That's gone. 4 years old by the time we get the new one, Scott. What has happened though since that time and the remastered of the Part 1? We got The Last of Us HBO show, which introduced a whole new audience to The Last of Us. So they're lining themselves up to go, hey, if you've now watched the show and want to go play the games, we've got you the best way to play with extra content. Now you can go back into the PS5 version of The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 coming up next year. Next year, dude, at this point, Sky is like 3 months away.
Now, do you think they're going to remaster it once more again, just as they did with Last of Us Part 1? But in this case, actually bring it to PC, and I will be very happy.
Well, that's where I'm surprised that we aren't getting a PC version of it as well, right? That's the, I'm like, huh, where's that? Now, I want to get into it, Scott. No Return. A new game mode coming with The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered has me excited. I like a good roguelike. I don't like the punishment of it, but if I'm going through upgrading, I'm able to keep my stuff. Like, that's where I'm like, okay, cool. Dude, Wall World. Love that game, right? I keep bugging Kate, our PR contact there, going, yo, where's the console version of this? Because you guys are killing me. It's stuck on my PC all the time. So
yeah, I would gladly play that again.
Oh, dude, it's so good, right? But it is the case of run out there, you do your bits, you grab any resources, and you then come back to your home base and upgrade. I want to do that here. Dude, if I could do that in the world of The Last of Us, I find which character am I. Dude, I don't even know if I'll beat Ellie or Abby in this case, or even Joel. Like, how does this work? Oh, is Liv in here? Like, there's going to be so many options and characters that we've never played before. I'm like, man, they're so smart in lining this up. And then that brings me to one further question, Scott, as we're already 10 minutes into the show. Does this lead into The Last of Us Part 2 next year? Multiplayer. The multiplayer, right?
Multiplayer, yeah. Or is this all to lean into eventual Last of Us Part 3?
Oh, well, there's that.
I've not beaten Last of Us Part 2, so, you know, spoilers, please, but...
Yeah. So, here it is, too, right? We're getting The Last of Us Part 2 remastered in January. They're also starting the HBO show Season 2. So we get into this. We're going to get into Season 2 next year. Are we getting the multiplayer? Are we getting the Part 3? There's so much love going into The Last of Us. Dude, I'm so excited. I can't
Sounds
wait.
like you're back in.
I'm so back in, and it is one of those games that is... So obviously, if you've followed me long enough, you know I hate horror stuff. And it is a creepy thing for me to play The Last of Us Part 1 or Part 2. There are moments I'm just like, whoa. Right? But at the same time,
but you do it.
I power through it, man, and I cannot wait to power through No Return and get into The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. I'm so excited. January 19th. Woo! We'll be playing. Scott, I feel like it's a good show today, dude. It's Monday morning. I've had a coffee. I'm like raring to go. Let's talk about Xbox now. That's right. PlayStation's on a high, but we'll see what Xbox can do, because apparently Xbox is on track to knock PlayStation down to third place for the first time in history. Jez Corden over at Windows Central. Here's what he says. What you need to know. I like how they do these little bullet points over here. Microsoft and Sony. Go ahead.
Oh, it is quite a very long article, actually, that Jez Corden has put together.
Yeah, so we'll hit the highlights, and then we'll see. So we're already halfway through our show. Microsoft and Sony have long been intense rivals of the high-end console gaming market, with Sony typically out in the forefront by almost every metric. Tell me about it. Hello, Game of the Year discussion for the awards, right? Despite Xbox console market share's woes, Microsoft has found a ton of success by expanding across the PC and doubling down on services. Now that Microsoft has acquired Activision Blizzard, the makers of the Call of Duty, and everybody banks on Call of Duty right now, right? Microsoft may be on course to leapfrog Sony's gaming revenue for the first time in history. Tencent remains the top dog by a mile, that's crazy though, owing to investments in companies like Epic Games, domination in China, mobile titles, and the ownership of League of Legends Riot. From Riot. So that's
a big one.
Absolutely. Between that and the mobile side of things, this is why you see Tencent being on the top dog, and then Microsoft and Sony following behind, right? Microsoft has long touted the goal to become the top dog in gaming industry, while also stating that its eyes are on players like Apple and Tencent rather than PlayStation and Nintendo in order to achieve these goals. Indeed, the top player in the industry is Tencent. The Chinese tech giant has massive investments in companies like Epic Games with Fortnite, as well as a dominant position in service PC and mobile games in both Western and Eastern markets in general. Apple, despite making no games or gaming hardware of its own, has also been comfortably ahead of Microsoft, owing to massive taxes it imposes to developers on its iOS App Store. The landscape is rapidly changing, however. In a world where Microsoft and Activision revenues were combined for the first time in gaming history, Microsoft will supplement Sony PlayStation as the second biggest gaming company. It's emblematic of Microsoft's desire to emulate Tencent in this space, producing service games that extend across all platforms, as opposed to more traditional closed console ecosystem approach that works well for PlayStation and Nintendo. Microsoft has also told investors to expect near, you ready for this, a 50% increase in gaming revenue for its next quarter, owing to the combined revenue streams. Other developers could further upset the balance. Apple has been designated as a gatekeeper tech firms by the European Union, which means they will be forced to open up their platform to third-party app stores and sideloading of apps from 2024. Microsoft has been incredibly transparent about its desire to build an Xbox mobile game store and has dedicated a significant amount of resources to that end. If Microsoft can derive Apple of revenues from Call of Duty Mobile, Minecraft, and other major third-party games by offering a better revenue split, it could help further Microsoft's goal to create the Steam of mobile. Personally, I think it's a long shot. Samsung already offers something similar to its own Galaxy Store and has barely made a dent on Android. But maybe Microsoft has a secret weapon that we have yet to uncover. Scott, what are your thoughts?
No, I think Microsoft has the brand name behind them, that it'll succeed a lot further. Of course, Samsung does as well, but not in the gaming space.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? They've also taken away now. They have the opportunity to come in and Call of Duty Mobile, right? Like they're banking on one of the bigger games in the mobile space. I'm curious to see how well they do. I know they're looking at launching their own store, but dude, we had a Windows Phone before, right? Like, don't forget about that, and that tanked. So we've been down this stream before, but I think now Microsoft and Xbox are in such a position that they have the ability to maybe kind of take away a little bit from Apple, but I don't think they're going to take all of it. Look at Epic right now, as they have the Epic Game Store, and they're trying to battle against Steam, and have yet to turn a profit. And it was something like, I saw this the other day, something like 5 years now, 6 years that this service has been out, and they have yet to actually turn a profit like they do. That's a major loss, right? Like, whoo! But they got deep pockets.
Yeah, Microsoft now has the deepest pockets available to actually maybe sustain something like that. It'd be interesting to see, because Apple's also stepping into video games again with their hardware. Their phones can now run certain games we're seeing come around. It's weird how the competition space keeps evolving.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, the newest Apple iPhone, right? You'll be able to play Resident Evil, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and there's something else I saw too. I was like,
quite
wow.
impressive.
Very impressive, right? My kid right now is like, Dad, I'm talking about getting the latest iPhone. I'm like, dude, really? You're gonna do it? He goes, yeah. I'm like, okay, like, if that's what you want, go ahead. You're working, go pay for it. But it's one of those things, like, dude, you can now play Assassin's Creed Mirage. Like, I just 100% of that over on Xbox. Had a great time. Playing on my mobile device is not exactly where I want to play that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. But I like the capability is nice there, because a lot of people that will be their mode of play.
Could they? Here's the thing.
I used to take my Nintendo Switch to work, actually, so I could see that working out very well.
Absolutely, right? Nintendo obviously in a different part of the market, but a different market. They captured the mobile side of things, I think, when it comes to the hardcore gamers in a sense. But when it comes to Apple, can you link your save file? Dude, you can transfer your save file between your iPhone and whether you're playing on Xbox or PlayStation for Assassin's Creed Mirage. That's a way to continue on with your gaming, right? I think that would be a huge move. But
absolutely. I wonder if there is an argument right now happening. Is Sony going to buy that access first? Is Xbox going to buy it first? Or does it not matter and it's down to the developer? That's what I wonder.
Well, that's just it. And then if they come in right now with their own app store for Xbox and Microsoft, and they're going to undercut where Apple's getting paid, right? Like, they take a good portion of what the developers will make for their games. They're trying to do what Epic is doing, right? Where they're like, we'll take half of what Steam takes. Steam takes right now, I believe, 30%. So Epic comes in and go, like, we'll take 20. So undercut them by 10%. I think that's how it goes. It's been a while since I've seen those stats. Maybe that's what they're looking to do here and build that out, right? And have somebody have a better option. It's just now they have to build up that library. Right now, when you go to the Apple store, dude, that library is full, right? So, but they're also well invested when it comes to the community. So there's people there that will take a look at your game. Are you going to have that when it comes to Windows and Xbox?
Very interesting to see. Yeah, Windows Phone 2 might be enough to support that, but
Do we get
unlikely.
another phone from them, you think?
Curious, but if putting hardware in your hand might actually do it. That might benefit the brand.
Maybe.
Back in your mind space, compete more with Apple.
Absolutely. Scott, we've had some clarification as Warner Brothers denies the Wonder Woman game will be live service. Jordan Midler over at VGC. As reported by WCCF Tech earlier this week, the job ad for lead software engineer gameplay at Monolith Production suggested the upcoming superhero game could be a live service or have live service elements. Quote, join the Wonder Woman team and help bring an iconic DC superhero to life, end quote. The listing reads, well, the job requirements list the typical experience expected for an applicant looking to work on a AAA game. One of the qualities in the quote, nice to haves, end quote, section refers to live service. Specifically, the listing says applicants may have the edge if they have quote, experience helping maintain live software product or game, end quote. Now, in a statement, IGN, Warner has denied that the game will be live service, saying Wonder Woman is a single-player action-adventure game set in the dynamic open world. This third-person experience will allow players to become Diana and introduce an original story set in the DC universe, while also featuring the Nemesis System. About time. Wonder Woman is not being designed as a live service, end quote. Scott, the Nemesis System, dude, it's back. It's been decades, man. Why? Oh man, about time.
It's finally back, but it seems that Warner Brothers in general is taking a lot of feedback. No live service? Okay, we hear you loud and clear, everybody. Please, we're not going to do live service. We're sorry already. And then now the idea of, well, okay, we'll sweeten the pot even more. We'll bring in the Nemesis System. We've been getting blasted for that for a decade or more.
Absolutely. And it worked so well with the Shadow of Mordor and the Shadow of War games, right? It was so cool. And then it vanished. And now we're getting it in a Wonder Woman game, Scott? Does that seem a little weird to you? I know it does to me.
Yeah, a bit of a strange place here, but they have to find a way of spicing up any sort of superhero game. They don't do so well lately, unless you're Spider-Man.
I was going to say, one of the best games of the year just came out. It's called Spider-Man. But yeah, that's the Marvel side, right? When we get into I'm going to say it, the lesser known for DC, sorry DC fans, it's just true. Marvel's on the top, DC falls in the second. I'm just, from my perspective, right? You can take it with a grain of salt, either way. But when
until we get the movie Spider-Man vs. Batman,
that's just it. Yo, why don't we have a DC versus Marvel? Give it NetherRealms and make them a fighting game. Come on.
Oh, there's an idea.
I've been saying this for years. Why don't we have this? I want to fight as Spider-Man. I want to fight as Wolverine. Give us a good game, and don't give me that Marvel versus Capcom stuff either. But it's nice to see the Wonder Woman's going to get the Nemesis System. I'm just curious on who all the villains are going to be now. But again, this is going to be decades out, I feel like.
It's going to be a long time now.
Scott, it's a quiet Monday on the game front. What the heck are we playing today? Just one old game?
We have In Stars End Time, and that comes to the PC and the Nintendo Switch.
There we go. And that'll wrap up today's show, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'm Drew. That's Scott.
And we'll see you inside the game.